All right, well, everybody's here. We're ready to go. Good morning from the San Francisco Bay Area. For those in Brazil, boa tarde, and in Latin America, buenas tardes. My name is Andy Tsao. I'm a managing director with Silicon Valley Bank, and I lead our global gateway team, which is a business that's been focused on new and emerging technology hubs around the world, which has included Brazil and Latin America since 2012. So we've been active in Latin America for over eight years at this point. For those who aren't familiar with Silicon Valley Bank, we are the bank for the innovation economy in the US and increasingly around the world. That translates into working with more than 50% of the venture-backed tech companies across the US. And in terms of VC firms, more than 60% of the VCs that invest in tech companies. We're delighted that we have so many of our clients as part of today's program. With two in our panel today with Zendesk and Twilio, and our Latin America clients, which now amount to more than 700 across the region. We had RD and Runa and Pipa, Redpoint eVentures, to name a few. So it's fantastic to be part of today's program. Silicon Valley Bank has participated in SaaStock in other parts of the world, so it's great to extend that now to Latin America. So with that being said, I wanted to get the program going, and we're going to do over the next 35 minutes is really to talk about how do you build a SaaS business that's really focused on the customer, sort of the notion of customer centricity, and that's across multiple disciplines: sales, marketing, product, etc. And we have a great panel here to help us through this discussion. And we have Mayra Gracini from Zendesk, Bixby Jamison with Twilio, Marcelo Lombardo with Omi, and guys, let's get the conversation started. So if I can ask each of you, maybe starting with Mayra, to introduce yourselves, what you do, and give us an intro to your company as well.
Perfect. Well, Andy, thanks for the welcome. I'm thrilled to be on this panel, also with Bixby and Marcelo. We've been at Zendesk, we've been attending a lot of SaaS talks as well around the world. And it's a pleasure, again, despite online, to be with everyone. So I'm Mayra Gracini. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing for Latin America at Zendesk. I think most of you know Zendesk. We have now more than 160,000 customers around the world. Latin America is a great market for us. We are all about SaaS solutions for customer journey, customer experience, customer support, also omni-channel solutions. And specifically in Latin America, we've been supporting more than 12,000 customers. So Latin America, it's a great market for us. We've been growing like a hyper-growth company in Latin America as well. I joined Zendesk in August 2017, so 3 years now. I was the 10th maybe person. Right now, like we have around 200 people across Latin America. It's a pleasure to be here talking about customer centricity.
Thank you, Mayra. Bixby, over to you. You're muted, Bixby.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
You're good.
Wonderful. Sorry, I was also late. I was in a different screen. But my name's Bixby Jamison, Director of Sales for Latin America. For those who don't know Twilio, Twilio is a cloud-based communications platform. We have APIs for messaging, SMS, WhatsApp, voice, and package applications such as call center application. And similar to Myra, our focus is customer engagement, and really Twilio's mission is to change communications and customer engagement for decades to come. So I joined Twilio back in 2012, was one of the first enterprise account executives, and then coming up in about almost 5 years now have been managing sales teams. So I'm really excited just to participate in this conversation today, and I'll pass it to Marcelo to introduce himself.
Hello, good afternoon. It's great to be here again in this marathon. SaaStock is great. It's my second event. I'm very happy, very happy to be here. So I'm the CEO and founder from Omi, and Omi is the #1 ERP or accounting software in the cloud, as you prefer, here in Brazil. We have close to 45,000 clients, and we plan to end the current year with 0.1 billion ARR. So as you can see, I'm pretty optimistic. I'm trying to learn how to say my numbers in billions. And we are growing pretty well the last month. Compared to August 19, we grew like 120%. We have 300 people in the team right now, and an astonishing NPS of 84. And this is an NPS found by third parties, not by ourselves, because you can cheat when you do by yourself. You usually cheat. But we started in business almost 7 years ago in October 2013. We were a 7-people company, 1 intern and 6 engineers, including me. So deep inside, I'm a programmer, but I don't code anymore because the other 5 guys, they removed my access from the development servers. They say I make a big mess, but I think they just don't want to be humiliated anymore. So in a brief, that's what we're doing right now.
Thanks, Marcelo, and that's terrific growth, particularly in this environment. I'm guessing that's the same for Myra and Bixby as well. But why don't we start with you, just in terms of kind of a high-level question to get the conversation going. Just in terms of creating this customer-centric experience, what do you do at Omi? What's like the top thing that you can think of when you're saying, hey, we want to create a customer-centric experience?
I think, Andy, the first thing is in the cultural level in the company. The first thing you may address is culture. And in Omi, we try to create a ownership culture in the whole company and in all kinds of channels and everybody that is related with us. So it means in the daily life that we tend to think differently about the customer issues. So the perfect formula, if you want to get fired from Omi, is to say, okay, that client, he just can't understand what we're doing. That client can't understand what that page is about. So this is the perfect formula. You just say that and you get fired. Because the right way to say, according to our culture, is we were not able to create a page that customer could understand. So it's our responsibility. So you must take the ownership for everything, for absolutely everything. So I think this is the starting point to create a really client-centric culture in the company.
Fantastic, and we can dive more into culture a little bit later. But Myra, how about you? what's top of mind for you in terms of creating that customer-centric experience?
I might duplicate what Marcelo was saying, because like Zendesk was founded because our three founders had their like at their 30 years old or something, they were working as consultants in customer service, and they were always like bothered how there was like complexity in everything related to customer experience, let's say. And then like you prioritized everything but the customer. So like they had this vision to create Zendesk with a mission to help companies from all sizes, from all companies, to really simplify the customer experience and really like from the customer's perspective. So this is in our DNA. So I think that really like the culture is the first one. But the second thing is how the culture translates into the rituals that the company has on the day-to-day. And that maybe is the most difficult thing. The easy thing is just for us to think, yeah, we are a customer-centric company, but how that translates into the reality. So I think that we have that blend, the cultural, like the aspirational, but also the day-to-day. So I think these should be, two portions should be taken into consideration.
Myra, can you give an example there of what you're talking about, of how a ritual translates into?
Yeah, I think that like for a company to create a real customer-centric culture, you need to know first like who we are, like who you are. What are your mission, your vision, why you exist? As Simon Sinek says, like it always starts with why. So why the company exists. The other thing is who do you bring inside? So by creating the culture is like it's a blend of like who the company, the mission, the vision, values, but also who do you bring to work for the company? It needs to have a blend. And there is also like the architecture, so the company architecture, let's say, and the rituals. A lot of questions when we're talking with our customers, giving advice, like there are some questions that we do like that every entrepreneur should be thinking about, which is like, is the company architecture really designed around the customer needs, or does the customer need to adapt to the company architecture and the processes and everything? So this is maybe the first thing on architecture and rituals. And the second thing is silos. So the customer is not talking with marketing or customer service. The customer is talking with your brand. And in-house, that should be all about context. And every owner of the experience should have like the end-to-end context, so we can deliver like the best experience. And the other thing is, are the OKRs, so the objectives and key results from the entire team, from the leadership to the junior employees, tied to customer outcomes? So this is another thing. And also, does the technology support you? And do you have like live insights to take action? So there's a lot of rituals and architectural things that entrepreneurs need to think about. And also on the customer feedback. Serious the company take the customer feedbacks and really incorporate in everything we do. So it's kind of a blend from the cultural to the execution, let's say, in a very simple way.
Right. Well, it sounds like you might have the same outcome at Zendesk as you would at Omi if you said, hey, the customer's not getting this product. Bixby, we're into this culture conversation. So what you've been at Twilio for, in startup years, quite a long time now. So what are some of the things that Twilio does in terms of really, creating a company culture that's going to create some of this, customer centricity that Mayura was talking about?
Yes. And sorry, can you guys hear me? Okay, cool.
You're good.
Sorry, my Bluetooth's cutting in and out. So a lot of things that Maria said, there's some nice similarities. I mean, so it really starts with our values. And I recommend everyone who's listening to take a look at the Twilio values. We call the Twilio magic. So there are 10 values. One of them, all around customer centricity, is wear the customer's shoes. And so that really gets woven into a lot of our conversations and how we're supporting our customers. If you visit some of our offices, we actually have customer shoes that are hanging on the wall with a little plaque underneath of the customer's name. And we actually send out a pair of branded Twilio shoes to our customers. So that is something that is just, is with every person who interacts with customers, from folks in customer support to sales to product. Another customer value, or excuse me, another Twilio value and Twilio magic is be an owner. And when I think about just some of the different roles I've had at the company, mostly in sales, I've had to wear different hats, and it's being an owner to make sure that you're doing in my role, doing what's right for the customer. So, whatever it takes, and interacting with different folks within the organization, whether it's in product or engineering. Another value is no shenanigans, and people will call that out in a meeting and say, that sounds like shenanigans. That's BS. And so the Twilio magic and the Twilio values is something that Twilions live by. And then I'd say the last one that I really like is what we call draw the owl. And there's a good meme out there if you pull it up. But you have to just, at the end of the day, be an owner and get it done, and advocate for your customer if you're in a customer facing role.
Great. It's very similar across all three organizations here. Let's talk about feedback. And I see we have a question in the chat about about trying to ascertain the company's needs. So how do we, Mayura, let's start with you in terms of how do you gather feedback at Zendesk? Marcelo mentioned NPS. Is that a tool that you use, or what's the primary way that you collect feedback?
Yeah, so we have several practices that we use for our own Zendesk operation, but also we advise to our customers. And there are two types. Let's say the what we call the main tools and methodologies that we use is customer satisfaction. Measuring the customer satisfaction is one. NPS is the second one, very popular as well. We also have two other, well, we have a lot actually, but we have two other main North Stars for us, which is the customer effort score. So how much it's taking for your customer to do business with you, and also to get support from you, in each touch point on the customer journey, how is it to them? So measuring the customer effort score, it's something that we really advise and we do for ourselves. And the other thing, it's also what is our social reputation as the brand in all of our channels, let's say social channels or public channels, what people are saying about us, we take it very, very seriously. And the other, like not secondary, but it's more like internal, is like, how do we have KPIs for the people that are using our products on the day by day, their teams. So like the agents, like the customer experience teams, like how easy is our solution? Like how are they happy? Can they follow their main SLAs using our solution? So we have these set of like methodologies and tools to support us.
Great. And Marcelo, in terms of, how do you collect the feedback and sort of make sure that there's a feedback loop, if you will, to the other parts of the organization, particularly, let's talk about product and product design. How do you make sure that feedback loop is happening from the customer to the designers?
Okay, I think the first part is collecting the feedback. And we have a lot of tools to do that. So on every trouble ticket you open with our service desk, after that, they will ask the satisfaction level or things like that. And we have a pretty remarkable index over there, like 97, 98, 99% approval. And you only wait to evaluate the session if you're kind of pissed off. You don't wait to say, okay, it was great. But it's not only that. On every screen of the software, we have an icon smiling or sad. So you may click on every screen in the software. But I think the tools, they have a limit. And from that limit, you may start talking, really talking, establishing a real conversation with the client. So if one client clicks in, I like it or dislike it, this screen, happy or sad, in a few minutes, someone will call you and ask, why did you like or dislike this screen? And this is quite remarkable for the user. Last week, I remember I was delivering a mentorship session to Endeavor, to many scale-ups here in Brazil. And when I said that, one person said, hey, let me say something. Last week, I'm your customer, and last week, I clicked there unintentionally. And in less than 2 minutes, someone called me and said, why you didn't like this screen? So it's very good for the company and for how the client sees the company. From some point, you start a real conversation with the client, not only using tools. And this is the first part, how to collect the feedback. And then how to make this loop work with products. And that's where I think there's a major flaw in most of the org charts from SaaS companies. So if you remember a traditional org chart from a SaaS company, you will find a VP of product, VP of sales, and a VP of customer service, or in some cases, you will find a chief revenue officer, CRO, and below that, the head of sales and the head of CS. So you can see how far this guy that works with the customer is far away from the product.
Yeah.
And they usually don't have a direct connection to make the feedback work. So what we do here at OMI, we put the help desk, the service desk team below the product guy. So it's all their responsibility under the VP of product. So we say here in Brazil, não tem bola dividida. So I don't know how to say this in English. Maida, maybe you can help me. You never will think twice.
Really, like there's no shared ball. Like all has one owner, let's say. I don't know if I helped you, Marcelo.
Thank you, Maida.
And And Bixby, how about the customer feedback as it relates to your function that you're responsible for, the sales function?
Yeah, I mean, so both from so one example is anytime we close a deal, we actually send out a survey, and so that feedback goes. Actually, excuse me. If we win a deal or actually lose a deal, that survey will go out to the customer, and the customer has an opportunity to respond and provide a rating. So as a manager, I will see that, as well as the account executive will see that feedback. And if it's a low score, that's going to go up the ranks. We also we were talking a little bit about kind of disconnect between, or how do you connect product with the the customer with product, and if there are gaps, the account executives also have an opportunity to go into our CRM and mark a reviewed by the product team, and so that gets routed back into the particular business unit that is responsible for that lack of feature, and then those get reviewed on the risk of the opportunity if it's a large dollar amount, and that's a feature gap. The product team will kind of step in and review that if that's a feature that, hey, we should prioritize within the organization and the product. And then from a support perspective, as our customer support folks are interacting with clients, they also have an opportunity to rate, hey, what was that experience? So we're constantly measuring NPS and how we're doing as an organization.
So again, that sort of feedback loop between the client and the sales team, and then product. So,
but it always can be it always can be improved. I mean, it's not at times like, yeah, it could be better, and that's something that we're always working on. The NPS out post sale, that's something that we implemented maybe about half a year ago.
Bixby, just FYI, you were freezing up once or twice, so they suggested to refresh the page. That might help. Marcelo, over to you. Just in so you're the chief exec at OMI, and when you look at the different disciplines, again, whether it's marketing or sales or product, how do you ensure sort of cross functional collaboration when it comes to, and make sure it all ties together to provide a good customer centric experience?
Well, I think the first thing you must be concerned is to walk the talk. You must be the example. So sometimes when client reaches you through LinkedIn, or they figure out what your email is and send you a direct email and say, I don't like this and this and this, and I respond myself. I don't pass the message to a guy from CS, hey, take care of this client. So no, I respond myself, and I dig deep to understand what is going on with that client. So you must first walk the talk, so everybody can really see that the company leaderships, they are really engaged in delivering a great experience to their clients. So if they don't see you really, really deeply worried about the clients, they will never be, first thing. And I think the first signal that things are really not aligned and companies not walking the talk, it's when those areas, customer success, sales, marketing, they start clashing with the CFO. So sometimes the CS guy comes and say, okay, we screw up with that client, let's give him 3 months allowance or something like that, or he wants to cancel or serve services because for any reason we screw up or we made a wrong sale to that client, and the CFO comes and say, no way, we have a 12-month commitment. We won't cancel, we won't refund. So, and that's when you have some clues that things are not really aligned about customer centricity in your culture, in your company. So pay attention to what is going on when the CFO enters the arena and starts arguing with your CS or sales team.
I'm sure that never happens, right?
Well, not in Brazil. Maybe maybe in Silicon Valley. Here, I never heard about that. Just saying something that I heard in a conversation, but no more than that.
All right. So, Bill, over to you. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about how do you create customer loyalty in as you look at whether it's design or marketing or sales. How do you create that loyalty with your customer base?
Yeah, so I think one of the things Twilio from inception, we had great presence in our developer evangelist team and being out there in the community. Can you guys hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Good.
And so we've always been really proud of our documentation and putting our APIs out there that anyone can access that, and even anyone can file a support ticket and get support from our support organization. That might be free support, and the SLA on that is best effort, depending on what other tickets that are out there. But providing that support and building the brand within the community, especially the developer community, and our evangelist team that's out there working with developers and going to conferences, has really strengthened, is part of the Twilio culture and the Twilio brand. And that's really created a very loyal and strong following.
Mayra, how about you? How do you think of creating loyalty at Zendesk?
I think that the first thing that we need to acknowledge is that customer loyalty is not a given, right? It's not something that you demand or force, and it's also not overnight. It's something that the company needs to earn by investing time, day by day, dedicating real efforts to get it, to earn it, as I said, and it takes also consistency. And it's also, we see at Zendesk, it's not like customer experience area, like our own customer experience area ownership, or even marketing, or even sales or something. It's everyone, all the areas coming together at one point, and the point is the customer journey. So because the customer journey is, we used to say in the past, when growing a SaaS company, we thought of sales and marketing. But what really people forget sometimes is the customer experience, and how happy the customer really is, because they can churn every moment. So every contact with your customer can be favorable to loyalty or disfavorable towards churn. So when all the areas collaborate to figure out what is the best customer journey, and then to figure out all the touch points from the discovery to the acquisition, onboarding, expansion, loyalty, or even churn, it's a cycle, right? So all areas need to come together, and this is something that we do at Zendesk. in each of the part of the customer journey. Like we have multidisciplinary teams to working to figure out how to take the friction out of the customer, let's say.
Yeah, that's a great point, that every touch point can impact loyalty one way or the other, right? Okay, so let me remind the audience here with the few minutes we have remaining that if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat there, and I will continue to ask a question here and keep an eye on the chat. But Mayra, staying with you here, obviously we're in a very challenging time with the pandemic, and in this kind of environment, having customer loyalty, customer centricity is maybe more important than it's ever been. Are there any adjustments that you've made at Zendesk in this environment, that you weren't doing prior to the spring of this year?
Wow, a lot changed. And I think that's the reality for the most of the companies here, right? Not like the external environment changed, but I saw many companies like reinventing their business to figure out like how to survive or even thrive or scale, and surfing the wave for some companies in this scenario. What happened to Zendesk is that like at the moment, early stages, we established war room, let's say, and a leadership team, multidisciplinary team set by our C staff to really like replan, to reinvent the way that we do business, the way that we support the companies, and I think that like even like for planning, how would be the next quarters, like what does it mean to us, and also how could we work towards like supporting our customers. So the first thing was like we worked a lot with customers, both in reviewing their own businesses in this force path to digital, also supporting their entire workforce going digital, and also working this in a distributed way. The other thing was we also offered access to some key solutions for 6 months, because we knew that there were companies that were like struggling financially, and other companies that saw their tickets or like their customer engagement like scale like 10 times or 100 times. So we offered such solutions to them. We also offered some financial aids to some customers as well facing financial distress. And the other thing that I can highlight is that our social impact area also, like we help NGOs around the world constantly with tech, with hours of volunteering, and also financial aids. We expanded this program to support NGOs that were like struggling around the world. So these are some of the things that we reviewed. And last but not least, we reviewed our principles. We created new principles on how we approach the business and our customers for us to make sure that we were in a good shape to move forward.
It's a lot there. Bixby, how about you? Any things that different from what Zendesk was doing?
Yeah, I mean,
or similar.
Yeah, I mean, so the Twilio platform and our technology, many organizations, need to leverage messaging and email and voice and video to help, continue working. and provide excellent support to their customers. And so we've seen a huge increase in demand for some of our services. And so supporting NGOs has been a big part of that with Twilio.org. We also, for certain customers that needed some relief, we also helped there, and reviewing some of those contracts. Even different ways to engaging. I mean, my team is used to being in front of customers face to face, and how to, for example, we used to. We've now moved hackathons to digital hackathons or online hackathons. And, we've seen that as being really nice opportunities within companies from a team building perspective. At this point, we're all staring at a screen, but actually, hey, let's step away and do something fun and work on a project that may not be something that the team was focusing on. So doing digital hackathons. So there's so many different ways that we've been engaging and in this new environment.
All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time, but I'm going to give Marcelo an opportunity to comment here as well. And that's just the adjustments that we're making now. We kind of talk about, hey, we're not going to go back to normal like the way normal was in 2019. But what is what changes are kind of permanent, do you think, at OMI, and how do we think of the new normal with some of these changes that you've made?
Well, Andy, I think we always need to search for the good side of the things. And one good side of this crisis is that we know that the technology advances kind of exponentially, but the technology adoption by the companies, not. They are like flat. They are not exponential. And what the crisis did is that they pushed the companies towards adopting the technology. So everybody's kind of catching up with technology. And when we were forced to use technology, we navigate to the other extreme. We were used to make things in person. Now we must do it digitally. There's no other option. So you're pushed to this option. And I think there's a good point in the middle. And as far as I can see, we are tending as a society to this middle now that things are kind of opening everywhere. So we are tending to use the best of the technology, but also try to extract a great value from in-person interaction. So this is something that some guys used to say, physical is merging physical and digital. And most of the consultants here in Brazil, they consider physical as the future of local commerces and things like that. So I think the changes, they are permanent, but we will not be only digital beings from now on. And that's why we must take care of our clients and really take care of our clients. I learned something very special from a guy I admire a lot. I had a chance to attend to one of his speeches back in 2011. He's Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer from Iron Maiden, that heavy metal band. And,
okay.
And he came to the stage saying, I hate clients. I hate clients. I hate them. What's his point? I thought to myself. And he said, because clients, they have an option. Fans don't.
Very good. Well, gosh, I didn't think Iron Maiden would come up in our conversation, but that's a great way to wrap things up. And I love that term, physital, right?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of hybrid reality that we're going to have in the future. But I think we are out of time and overtime. So I do want to, again, thank our great panelists. Mayra Gracini, Bixby Jamison, Marcelo Lombardo. Thanks for the great comments, guys, and thanks, SaaStock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.